So what brought me to Thompson Valley? There was a position posted for an art position here at Thompson Valley. They had 6 classes they needed someone to teach. I had already been in for the interview process, and so they offered me a 1-semester position just to teach those 6 classes. So what inspired me to take this position and teach filming rather than being out there and filming? When I was in Nashville, I taught art. I had taught art for 13 years, and on the side I was doing film work, whether it was working on documentaries or doing just independent film festival films or whatever. So when the position was presented to me here that they were really looking to build back up the video production program, having the background in that, doing it, and then also having a teaching background, it was just a no-brainer for me. I was really excited about being able to lend some real-world experience to video production here at Thompson. Some of the changes that are different from here than, say, Tennessee, there's no humidity, which I love. So people think Colorado is really cold. It gets cool, but it's not cold. And so that's one major change I noticed. Colorado's not a very diverse state. I taught in a school that had over 90 different languages, and so it was a very diverse school. So it's not a very diverse. So I miss my darker-skinned friends, and just the ethnicity of different cultures here. I don't get that like I did in Nashville. As far as people and teaching, kids are the same. The kids are kids, and people are nice and they go out of their way to help you, just like Nashville. I wake up every morning and look at the mountains, and still sometimes, I've been here for about a year and a half, and I think, wow, I live in Colorado. This is awesome. So you don't get that view in Tennessee. Other than that, those are kind of the 3, I think, big things I've noticed. The temperature, where if everybody thinks it's cold and it's not. The view, and just the diverse culture that Colorado lacks. I mean, there are places that are more diverse than, say, Fort Collins and Loveland, but yeah, those are the 3 big things. Teaching, it doesn't pay a ton, which is fine. I'm of the opinion that I sign a contract or I make an agreement to work for X amount of dollars. Those are the X amount of dollars I decide I want to work for. And so with teaching, there are many benefits to teaching, besides summers off and Christmas and things like that. You actually get to build a community with students and give them your knowledge, your input into how they can be more creative or push that limit of their own creativity, so that they can then take that and in turn do with it what they want to. They may grow up to be a teacher and pass it on or whatever, but it's almost like leaving a legacy. And I love that every day is not the same. I would be totally bored in a job where I had to do the same thing every day. I get to be creative, and I get to see creativity happen, and hopefully inspire kids to be more creative or be better at their own creativity. So for me, I mean, there's a ton of benefits of being a teacher. The camaraderie between the faculty is usually fantastic. It is here. You build those relationships with kids that sometimes carry on, for life. I mean, I remember some of my teachers from high school and stuff. I'm still friends with them, and so yeah, I think there's many benefits to it. And besides, you get summers and most national holidays off, and it's fantastic. And sometimes snow days. Not yet, though, here in Colorado. So I don't know that there's much that my students could do to get me here for 2nd semester. I mean, I could tell them to go rally support at the district, but the funding is funding, and if you do the math, If there's no money to keep me here second semester, then that's fine. My plan is to sub and to be in the building as much as I possibly can. That way I'm here, still building those relationships with the students, just maybe in a different learning environment. And then next year, my plan is to be back here full time and hopefully get the video production classes up to speed. You know, if the school, I think if the district had the funding, then I would more than likely probably know pretty soon whether or not I could be back here for a second semester. But if they don't have the funding, they don't have the funding. And I knew that going into taking the job, and it's kind of like I said earlier, I accepted a position that paid X amount of dollars for a certain amount of time. I'm okay with that. I left a profession to come here to do this job, and so, you know, if need be, I'll go work somewhere else until next year. You know, but I hope to be here next year, subbing in the district, hopefully mostly here at Thompson Valley. I believe there's an appropriate time to videotape things that happen and an inappropriate time. If I'm being beaten up by a bunch of thugs, put the video camera down and come help me. So just because you can film something doesn't necessarily mean that you should. And in the case of, say, the two people that got into a fight in New York in the subway, and one person fell in and was trying to climb out, and then you have people standing there with their phones or their video cameras filming him get hit by the train. Those people, I don't know about New York, but in some states there's a Good Samaritan law, and that if you don't follow the Good Samaritan, in other words, if you could have helped the person and you didn't, and it's proven that you didn't help when you could have, you can go to jail for it. That's how the very last episode of Seinfeld ended, was them going to jail for not helping someone. So I believe that there should be integrity in what you film and how you film it. You never want to just shove a camera in someone's face after a tragedy and say, "Hey, how'd that make you feel?" That's not helpful. It's not news. They should probably punch you and let you know how they feel. So I think there should be some integrity and some care given to filming. I don't think there is a lot of times, and especially in that situation in New York City, when multiple people could have rushed and helped him. Even if he was the aggressor and got pushed in, it still does not constitute him losing his life and it being on YouTube for the rest of our lives. So yeah, I think something should probably be done, if that's the case, with the people who just stood by and did nothing. Yeah, don't stand by and do nothing. Do something. Put the camera down. I've always been the type of person to ask why, and so when I see something going on in another country or even here in the States, I always ask why. I want to know the truth. And so with Reparando, we went into Guatemala to tell a story of the Civil War, the tragedy that happened there, and then what people were doing in that country since then to give their lives away because of that tragedy. You know, so they were giving their lives away. They were helping, even though they were a victim of what had happened. They were now trying to help others and turn their country back around. I went to Indonesia right after the tsunami to help build houses for victims of the tsunami. I was at Ground Zero as a chaplain about 4 months after 9/11. Just on the streets, people come up and want to say a prayer, or have a prayer, or whatever. We worked with Youth with a Mission there on the streets, and you know, you got a lot of questions, a lot of whys, like why this happened and stuff. So, so I just like to go into those places where there has been tragedy, or there is a compelling story to tell, and to be able to tell that story as truthful as possible.